Welcome. I'm Jen Kiostro, and I'm here to show you a little bit of a quick tip on how to burn your candles and incense from the spiral boxes with absolutely nothing but what you have in your own home. So to burn the candles and your incense in your house without having to purchase anything, most homes will have these items. I need you to grab one metal bowl that is fire safe, right? So meaning you could put it in the oven if you have to, stainless steel, right? Something like that. A lighter, a piece of tin foil, aluminum foil, and some salt. And it doesn't have to be kosher salt. It can be any kind of salt whatsoever. Just grab those items and then come back and we're going to burn the candles. All right, so first things first, when you are burning a candle, like a chime candle, sorry, this is a little bit loud. When you burn a chime candle, they're not going to fit in almost any single taper candle holder that you have anyway. However, the tip I'm going to show you to how to burn it in this fire safe bowl without a candle holder is the same tip to get it to go into a taper holder. Same exact process. So when I hand dip the candles, I leave a little bit of wax drip right at the bottom of the candle, and that is to help you see that little drip there that had salt on it. That is to help you have some extra wax to get it to stick to your surface. So in this bowl with the aluminum foil at the bottom, you just hold a lighter right to the bottom of the candle and you let, I don't know, usually I do 3 or 4, 5 drops of wax, and then you just stick it into the melted wax. You can watch it dry in real time because beeswax is really fast drying. See, look at, I can even already pick up the aluminum foil. It's like super stuck. It's not going anywhere. This is the easiest way to then, you just light your candle and there you are. This is also a really safe way to burn a candle so that you know you're not going to start a fire. And you should never leave a candle unattended, ever, 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 ever should you leave a candle unattended, especially a chime candle, and especially a candle where you're doing a ritual. This has herbs in it, it has salt, it has crystals, and so you don't want to leave it unattended because you have no idea. Sometimes the crystal will pull away from the candle and then leave a lot of wick. So you'll have to blow it out and cut it and restart it. Otherwise your flame will get super big, right? So there's some variations to a beeswax candle that has items in it. And so because of that, you want to stay very close to it anyway. Having said that, if you are sitting here and something should happen and you run away from the candle, this should contain it in a safe way. So even if it were to fall over, which look at, it's not going anywhere, right? Like it isn't gonna fall. It's the safest way to burn one of these chime candles without any sort of, see, and it's even safer than putting it into a taper candle holder because those can tip. And in this, look at this, it just slides around and it does not tip at all. It's my favorite way. That aluminum foil stabilizes it, and then the candle is sealed to that aluminum foil and it won't go anywhere. See, isn't that fun? That's fun. So now I'm going to show you how to set up your incense, and we're going to use the same bowl and the same aluminum foil just for the purposes of this ritual exercise. So I put my candle out. I'm going to use the same aluminum foil, same bowl. Put that aluminum foil in the bowl. Put it down here. Bowl, aluminum foil. Now I have this little heat trivet, however you want to say it. I put that on top of that just to be safe, extra safe, but you'll see, and I'll show you that the bottom doesn't get too hot because you're insulating it. So this is a fire safe bowl. The aluminum foil is fire safe. We are now creating a double walled fire safe incense burner with extra added protection. Still, do not leave this unattended, right? Then we're going to triple layer and we are going to put down salt. Now the salt gives you a space to put your charcoal tablet so that it has something right up against it. If it was right onto the aluminum foil, it would char the aluminum foil. The salt is going to insulate it further and it's going to give it a safer base. And it's also going to make it so the bottom of the bowl doesn't get hot. Now this is a larger charcoal briquette than you got in this month's ritual. I'm going to show you the difference here. That is a full size briquette. And then this one right here is the size you got in this ritual. This is a half size. right? So if you get these full-size ones, almost always you're going to want to cut them in half because they are going to last about an hour, hour and a half. Usually your rituals, you don't need the incense to go for that long. With the mini ones, you can leave them just as is, or you can take a knife and cut them in half. It's just like you would break apart a piece of ice. You're going to be very careful. Hold the knife in the center and sort of just give it a good whack. Or you could put it into a Ziploc bag and smash it with a meat tenderizer, and then the pieces will fall apart. You could do it real gently and it might break into 2 pieces. But for this exercise, you can leave this mini one because it doesn't burn. It's about a half an hour burn time. So I set it on its side so that it gets a good, quick light. And I just hold the flame to it for just a second. And then you'll watch the sparks move across it. And while we're waiting on that, I'm going to grab my incense that I'm using. Hold my altar plate. So then you can see that the sparks spread to the other side of the charcoal. And then I would use tongs. You could use cooking tongs. You could use anything, like anything that's fire safe. I just kind of knock it over with this and then set it gently in the middle, not using your hands. At this point, really take a moment to think about it. This is a hot, hot coal. This is like if you had a fire pit going and the coals were red and you could cook on them. That's how hot this coal is. So don't touch it ever. Resist the urge because it's there a little bit. You know, you're like, oh, I could just, no, keep your hands so far away from it. It's so super hot. So then you just take your incense and you sprinkle it on top. And again, you could use tweezers or a tongue to drop it on a little bit more precise. Look at that. Isn't that great? It starts smoking immediately. This is why I absolutely adore charcoal incense burners. You can control the burn so much easier, right? So you can just pinch plant material right on top. And then if it starts to get too smoky, you can just grab tongs, or I have a piece of like a really woody stem of sage. So if it gets to be too smoky, you can just knock the stuff off of it and instantly the smoke stops. So then you can give yourself a break from the incense. And then you just, when you're ready to have smoke again, drop more plant material on top of it. And you can do that over and over and over again for 30 to 45 minutes. The charcoal tab doesn't ever run out during that time period. And so you can kind of blow on it and see how hot it is. You see how it gets really red and orange? That is a burning hot charcoal tab. And so it will burn your material. You can drop all sorts of really fun things on there. You can put dried orange peels. You can open up, tea packets, right? Like let's say you run out of the incense from your ritual kit. You can put spices. You can do oregano from the spice cabinet. I have some of the bath tea, right? So if you have bath tea left over, you can sprinkle dried flowers. This bath tea burns so good. Oh, it smells so good. It's ridiculous. But you can control your burn. You can burn anything that's dried on there. Dried juniper berries, hibiscus. If you love a tea, like you love a tea that you drink, you love taste, you can always put it on top of your charcoal tablet and fill your house, and you'll often get kind of a similar smell, similar energy. And it's my favorite. And again, if it starts to get too smoky, which I don't have a vocabulary for that, I love smoke, but if you have smoke alarms, like I do, my whole house alarms, they'll go off. You can just knock the stuff off and instantly stop smoking, right? So that is how you do your candles and your incense from your rituals. I hope that's helpful. This is the thing I get asked most about. And even now, after all this time of burning, like 5-10 minutes with the charcoal burning super hot, still cool to the touch. It's like you can feel that there's warmth in the bowl, but it's not hot to the touch at all, right? So it's that fire safe bowl plus the aluminum foil plus the salt. And I didn't even put that much salt. If you really wanted to get extra protection in there, you could put much more salt than I did and give it an extra layer. And so See, just totally fine. And if you need to stop it completely, you can just run a little bit of water on top of your incense on top of the charcoal brick, and it'll instantly stop. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to keep burning these incense after I'm done recording. But I'm going to give you a really quick tip on what to do with what's left in the bowl. So just let your charcoal and salt burn, right? And your incense burn, and then I will be right back. Okay, so here we are with a cast iron cauldron that I burn in my incense in my home. Burn a lot of things in here. So when I do rituals where I say like burn paper, I write letters and I burn them. If it's super cold outside or I don't want to start a huge fire in the fire pit, I can do it in this cauldron. Cast iron, it's got legs and I can put it on top of my trivet and it's great. So I'm going to show you, this was last night's burn, right? And if you can see inside of here, there is a charcoal briquette that looks, it's bright white, right? If you can see it there, that's what it'll look like when your burn is totally complete. Never touch it with your fingers because sometimes it'll look complete, but inside will still be a hot coal. However, this was last night, so I know for sure that that is not hot coal. So I spread it out, make sure that there's no embers or anything like that. And then I transfer this into my mortar and pestle. And we are going to make black salt. So I'm going to transfer that. Okay, so here we have transferred everything from our incense burn into our trusty smasher, right? And there are some sticks, and in here last night I was burning some juniper berry. There's some sticks, there's some leaf material, but the ashes from the charcoal are in there and the salt is in there. And so I'm just gonna work it. And I'm gonna attempt to not sing and dance. And then this is just the motions that you're gonna use for about a minute, and I'm gonna pause this so you don't have to watch me do it the whole time. Okay, so I just did that for about a minute, not being overly thorough, just as I work the salt and the charcoal together. Again, I burned a lot of mugwort, which mostly turned to ash, but there are some sticks in here and some juniper berries. And so as things don't grind up, I just pull them out. But then what you're left with is a really nice black salt. And so the more charcoal you use, the darker the black it will be. But you can purchase black salt like on Etsy, on Amazon. You use it for protection. You put it anywhere. Salt is very cleansing and the charcoal absorbs negative energy. So you can put it on your threshold. You can wash your thresholds with it. You can put it in little satchels underneath your bed. You can put it in the four corners of a room or of your house. And it's a really great way to sort of set the intention, to cleanse the air, to cleanse the energy, to absorb negative energy. I switch out my black salt, usually on the new moon, but sometimes I'll go through and notice that it feels off in a room or something, and I'll switch it out then. But with the amount of black salt I use, it would be really expensive to try to buy it. And again, this is different than black salt for culinary purposes. That's often made black with volcanic ash, like in Hawaii. And that would be really expensive to be tossing on your floors, right? Black salt's also really good if there's like a really like nasty vibe in the room. You can take your black salt, sprinkle it all over the floor. I'll say a prayer or a blessing over it to absorb the negativity. Then I sweep it up, toss it outside, usually in a pit or far away from my house, and then come back in and sweep and mop, right? And I have a whole house cleansing ritual that we do, but it starts with black salt. So hopefully you can see that. The lighting is super weird. It's kind of sunny here in Michigan, so it's almost washing it out. But that's another way to reuse what comes in your box, because we're really dedicated to having as little of a footprint with our spiral boxes. Everything that you get can be reused or recycled or burned. And so the tissue paper, we have people that remake new sheets of paper. You can use it to start fires, right? You can push tissue paper into toilet paper rolls and use them as little fire starters. I like that everything has a purpose, and I try to not include too much plastic or things that become useless or garbage. So I believe that when we are in sync with our earth and we do rituals to bring our hearts into sync with the rhythms of the earth, that's kind of a wasted effort if it's full of plastic and junk that ends up in the trash. And so I try to be really mindful of what I'm sending into your homes. And this is another way you can make something that you can reuse. Some people will use sand to burn their charcoals, and that is another way to insulate it. But the black sand doesn't work quite as well at cleansing as the black salt. So happy ritualing. I hope everybody is enjoying their boxes, and I hope that answered a lot of questions. Have a beautiful day.